Stop what you're doing right now, because what Dawn Staley just said after South Carolina's win over Missouri wasn't just a routine post-game press conference, it was a championship warning shot to the entire country. Before we break this down, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below telling me one word to describe this South Carolina team right now. Is it dominant? Relentless? Unstoppable? I want to see it in the After South Carolina handled Missouri and clinched the SEC outright on their home floor, Dawn Staley walked into that media room calm, composed, but with the fire of a coach who knows her team is nowhere near satisfied. She praised the ball movement. She challenged the defensive lapses. She celebrated her seniors. And she made one thing crystal clear: this team isn't chasing moments, they're building a legacy. Tonight wasn't just about a win. It was about culture. Accountability. Trust. It was about why South Carolina continues to set the standard in women's college basketball. And what she said about her seniors. About loyalty. About the hunger still inside that locker. Explosive. So buckle up, because we're about to break down everything she said, what it really means, and why the rest of the country should be paying very close attention. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button right now, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me what impressed you most about South Carolina's performance, because what we just witnessed wasn't just another win, it was a statement. It was dominance. It was legacy in motion. And after the final buzzer sounded on South Carolina's commanding win over Missouri, Dawn Staley stepped to the podium and delivered one of her most revealing, emotional, and championship-caliber post-game press conferences of the final score told part of the story. The crowd at Colonial Life Arena roaring on senior night told another. But what Staley said afterward? That told you everything about why this program keeps winning, and why the standard in Columbia remains untouched. From the very beginning of her press conference, Staley made it clear that this wasn't an accidental explosion of offense. This was intentional. This was focused. This was a team that understood exactly what was on the line. She said her players knew what was at stake. They knew they had the opportunity to win the SEC outright on their home floor. And they wanted it. Not just the trophy. Not just the banner. They wanted the moment. They wanted to do it in front of their fans. They wanted to celebrate it with the people who built this atmosphere year after year. That mindset showed immediately in how South Carolina attacked. Staley broke down the ball movement. She wasn't fully satisfied at halftime. Despite scoring efficiently, she noted the assist numbers didn't reflect the standard. 7 assists on 21 field goals wasn't good enough for how they want to play. That's a championship coach talking. Even in a blowout, she's searching for refinement. She explained that the conversation at halftime centered around sharing the basketball. Finding rhythm. Identifying who should take the shot, not just taking a shot. And in the second half? The offense transformed from good to beautiful. The ball popped. The spacing improved. The right players got the right looks. Missouri couldn't keep up. And Staley emphasized something crucial: when they find shooters in rhythm, when they trust the pass, they become almost impossible to. But she didn't stop with offense. She addressed the defensive lapses in the third quarter. Missouri knocked down threes. They had moments where they looked comfortable. And Staley didn't sugarcoat it. She said they needed better closeouts. They needed sharper rotation. That's the difference in this program. A 40-point win doesn't blind her to improvement areas. It sharpens her focus. Then the tone shifted. Senior night. Emotion entered the room. And this is where Staley's leadership really poured out. She talked about what it means to win on senior night. About honoring the players who've given everything to the program. She acknowledged the balance, celebrating the present while staying locked in on what's next. They'll enjoy it for 24 hours, she said. Then it's back to work. Because this team isn't finished. One of the most heartfelt moments came when she spoke about Miriam Dauda. Staley described her as maybe the greatest teammate she's ever coached. Not because of points. Not because of stats. But because of. She talked about how Dauda never packed it in. Never sulked. Never disengaged when minutes were limited. Instead, she embraced practice squad reps. She brought energy. She helped younger players. She recruited. She strengthened culture. That's what winning programs are built on. Culture carriers. Not just stars. And Staley made sure the room understood that. Then came Medina Okoth's performance, 26 points, 17 rebounds, dominance inside. Staley smiled when she talked about her. She joked that she looked up in the fourth quarter and thought, wow, she's played a lot of minutes. But she kept her in because Okoth wanted to be out there. She wanted to compete. Staley even mentioned that teammates were probably hoping she'd hit 30 points, but that Okoth wasn't chasing numbers. She was making winning play. That distinction mattered. This isn't stat hunting basketball. It's championship basketball. And then she turned to Raven Johnson. If you followed this team, you know the crowd reaction Johnson received was thunderous. And Staley explained why. She called her a fan favorite. Not just because of talent, but because of joy. Because of personality. Because of consistency. She said Johnson brings laughter every day. That she enhances team atmosphere without trying. That her honesty and steady demeanor make her invaluable. Those aren't empty compliments. That's a Hall of Fame coach acknowledging the emotional backbone of her locker room. Staley also touched on something deeper, loyalty. She mentioned how some seniors could have earned more elsewhere. Nil opportunities. Different paths. But they chose South Carolina. They chose development. They chose honesty in recruitment. And she said something powerful, that she's grateful they trusted the staff to guide them through highs and lows. That's the foundation. Develop. Cult. Winning the SEC outright wasn't framed as the finish line. It was framed as validation of process. She made it clear they'll celebrate. But they're not satisfied. There's another game coming. There's postseason looming. There are bigger goals. And if you listen carefully, you could hear it, the hunt. Even in dominance. Even in celebration. Even with confetti in the air metaphorically. Dawn Staley sounded like a coach preparing for March. The players fed off that. The fans felt it. The media room sensed. This wasn't just a recap of a win over Missouri. It was a masterclass in how elite programs sustain excellence. Accountability in blowout. Emotion without distraction. Praise without complacency. And belief without arrogance. By the time she left the podium, you understood why South Carolina keeps stacking banners. Why recruits line up. Why players buy. It's not just talent. It's clarity. It's culture. It's a head coach who can celebrate her seniors, critique her defense, analyze assist ratios, and joke about stat lines, all in one session, without losing sight of the bigger picture. And that's why this won. Not because Missouri couldn't keep up, but because South Carolina proved, again, that when they're dialed in, sharing the ball, defending with pride, and playing for each other, there may not be a team in the country built to handle. So what did you think about Dawn Staley's postgame comments? Which quote stood out? Was it her praise for Douda? Her breakdown of ball movement? Her message about loyalty? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Smash that like button if you respect championship culture. And subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive, because March is coming fast, and if this press conference was any indication, South Carolina isn't just chasing another SEC title. They're chasing history. And Dawn Staley? She sounds ready. And that's what makes this different. This wasn't just a blowout win. It wasn't just another SEC title celebration. It was a reminder of why Dawn Staley has built one of the most feared and respected programs in the country. Accountability in victory. Emotion with purpose. Celebration without complacency. When a coach can win big, praise her players, challenge their weaknesses, honor her seniors, and still make it clear that the mission is far from over, that's championship DNA. South Carolina enjoyed the moment, but if you listen closely, you heard it too. They're not done. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more in-depth coverage, and drop a comment below. Is this South Carolina team the favorite to win it all? I want to hear your take. Turn on those notifications so you never miss an update, because as we head toward postseason play, things are only going to get more intense. And trust me, if this press conference was any indication, the best may still be ahead.